world's top snowboarders arrived at Stratton Mountain in Vermont for the 30th year of the Burton US Open of snowboarding, and the big question whether or not three-time US Open winner Shaun White would make an appearance was answered in force, was it not?
It was, and he came out like an exclamation point.
Opening salvo at the top, signature method air so high.
It's a 20-foot method, folks.
Followed that up, of course, with a massive frontside double cork 1080, cab double cork, frontside inverted 540 sailfish, backside double McTwist, and the one that I love the most, alley-oop backside rodeo for a 90.44. Louis Vito came the closest to catching White, scoring an 89.38 on a run that included a double crippler. Double cork backside rodeo, frontside double cork 1080, cab double cork, and of course the frontside inverted 1080. And there were two surprises in the half pipe that no one saw coming. Of course, was 7th place finish of Louis Vito's big Swiss rival, IOURI PODLADTCHIKOV. And the second was Vermont local Benji Farrell, who finished on a Burton Global Open podium for the first time in his career with a run that included a frontside 1080, cab 1080, frontside 1260, and a backside 900. The result left an American sweep of the top three, with White in first, followed by Louis Vito and local boy Benji Farrell. Looking ahead to Winter X Games, Louis Vito tweeted, "Now time for some Euro X Games action in France. Last one of the year."
The women's side of the pipe, well, it was packed with its own share of surprises. Gretchen Bleiler was forced to watch from the sidelines after a practice injury, leaving fellow Americans Elena Hight and Ellery Hollingsworth the job of trying to dethrone Kelly Clark's relentless domination of women's pipe. Kelly Clark came out strong in her first run and took an early lead with an 83.56. But Hight fired right back hard in her second run, launching a method air on her first hit before heading into a frontside 720 Japan air. Then into a cab 7. Back-to-back 900s.
Can she get it? There's a backside.
And a stylish alley-oop backside rodeo on her final hit.
Backside rodeo. What a run!
Firing up the fans and taking the lead away from Kelly Clark. An undaunted Kelly Clark tried to regain her lead but crashed on her frontside 1080 in run number 2 and was unable to topple Hight's 86.5 score in run number 3. Like the men, it was an all-American finish with Elena Hight in first, Clark in a rare second, and Ellery Hollingsworth rounding out the trio.
All right, now in women's slopestyle, American Jamie Anderson held onto her streak with a run that earned her a 90.10, over 10 points ahead of Norwegian Kjersti Boas and Finnish rider Annie Rukavari. Anderson completes the 2012 Burton Global Open Series undefeated. Not bad.
Yeah. Well, for the guys side of things, Sebastian TOUTANT out of Canada also defeated his rivals by a wide margin. His 92-point run put him far ahead of second-place finishers Ulrik Banicher of Norway and Belgian rider Seppi Smits.
All right, before the X Games, before Shaun White, and way before it was ever considered an Olympic sport, Paul Graves and a tight group of snowboarders gathered in 1982 at Suicide 6 in Vermont, turned over a kitchen table to use as a starting gate, and created the world's first national snowboarding championships and crowned Doug Burton as their first winner. You were there, Todd, right?
That was just like a year before my time.
No. First year at US Open, what was it for you as a competitor?
1989.
Highlight of all the years you've been at the US Open.
For me, you know, I won the US Open twice, and the first time that I won the US Open was probably one of my biggest highlights in the sport, just because it was such a big thing for an East Coaster like myself to go to the US Open and see all my heroes and to actually win it. And that was the contest that if you asked me, what contest do you want to win? That was the one. This is at a time where there was no Olympics, there was no X Games. The US Open was the pinnacle contest to win.
Okay, and let's permission to get negative. Low point at all the US Opens. There's been a lot, right?
Woo. Some of those contests, you know, you'd come out and just the temperature would go from the practice day was 55 degrees out, beautiful sunshine. The next day, it's hailing or sleeting, it's below zero, and the pipe is just,
as you like to say, magic shell poured over the snow.
It turns into magic shell. And I mean, that's Vermont though, and that's why the riders that come out of the East are some of the best in the world.
And when you think back to some of the earlier US Opens where they had things like slalom and there was that crossover, it was a pretty interesting time, right? Where you had like racers and half pipe.
I used to do everything. You would have to. I would do slalom, I would do the downhill. The downhill was super scary, especially on a freestyle board because we just wanted to ride freestyle, but you would do everything. It was just part of the deal. And it was crazy to see what those guys were going fast on back in the day. I mean, it's a wonder no one get really worked.
Last question, and permission to be honest here. Your best geek out moment. Obviously, when you go to US Open, you run into a lot of your heroes. What's your biggest geek out moment?
Biggest geek out moment was in 1989. First time I ever competed in the US Open, and all my heroes that came out from the West Coast, and it was right when I got on Sims. I was like a regional rider for Sims in the East Coast. Chris Roach, Mike Rankwick, Craig Kelly, Duckboy Wallace, myself, and Rob Morrow, all in the STRATTON gondola. I was just like, ugh. I couldn't even speak. It was like, I didn't think these people were real, and I was just like, oh, you are real.
Chris Roach.
And Rankwick was like, don't touch me.
Right, 30 years of history at US Open. Favorite 5 moments?
Favorite 5 moments. I will say in 1988 when they had a half pipe there for the first time and Terry Kidwell won. I will say when they moved the half pipe from the lodge side over to Sun Bowl, that was a big deal for us. The cage with Pat Bridges, when the dangling tiger cage, that is just a debacle. Okay. The addition of the Big Air when that was going down. 4, Danny Cass's dominance for a record 5 wins. And probably the number 5 one, unknown 14-year-old Kazuhiro Kokubo comes in and just blows doors a couple years ago.
Up against Ross Powers, I remember the year. That was 6, but we'll let you slide.
The 6,
yeah. Okay, all right.